Professor Mashiri, the PVC academic, University of Zimbabwe, is right. I will introduce Mr. Maposa, board chairman of Unki Mines. I will introduce Mr. Nemasas, general manager, Unki Mines. And Mr. Nemasas is the first graduate from mining engineering. There were only 3 graduates during his time. Then I will introduce Mr. Manando, the president of the chamber. I will also introduce Mr. Kwesu, who is the CEO of the chamber. I will also introduce, we have a couple of board members for the School of Earth and Mineral Sciences. I think we have 2 that I can see. I can see Mr. Manando is here, and then Mr. Matsikidze. I think, is there another board member who is here? Right, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite the acting Vice Chancellor of the University of Zimbabwe to introduce our guest of honor and give his welcome remarks.
Honorable Minister of Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development, I want to say at this point all protocols are observed. I will be addressing you later in the session, but I'm standing up just to welcome the Unki team, Honorable Minister, who is our guest of honor, members of the board of Unki team, and our senior members of staff in the university, members of staff in the university, students from the university, and our guests and recognize the director and staff of the School of Earth and Mineral Science. We have brought us together today through the partnership from our esteemed with our esteemed partner, Unki Mines, just to welcome him. So at this point, I would just want to say to everybody, welcome. This is born out of a partnership which is typically a public-private partnership between us as a public institution and Unki as a private sector concern. And at this point, I would want to kindly invite our acting permanent secretary from the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Technology Development to assist me in introducing the Honorable Minister so that he can address us.
Good afternoon, you all. It is indeed an honor for me to stand up in front of you and introduce my minister, our minister. Our guest of honor this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, is Professor Amon Murira, who is a full professor in aerospace Earth observation, satellite remote sensing, geographic information science, and global satellite navigation systems. unmanned aerial vehicle applications and geospatial intelligence. He has a PhD in geoinformation science and satellite Earth observation from Wageningen University. This is a very difficult and International Institute of Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation, ICT, in the Netherlands. His PhD thesis scored among the top 10% in Europe upon graduation. Professor Mubira has more than 20 years national and international experience in the development and applications of aerospace Earth observation and geographic information science. He has been closely involved in leading the development and training in geoinformation science and Earth observation in the SADC region and Africa at large. Professor Mubira has more than 80 internationally referred scientific publications in planetary science, as well as applications of geographic information science and Earth observation in resource detection and management, with more than 5 already in this year 2018. While at the University of Zimbabwe, Professor Mubira was instrumental in revolutionizing geographical sciences so that they contribute to national development. In this regard, Professor Mubira led in the development of 5 innovative undergraduate programs and 5 postgraduate programs in the area of geographic sciences and Earth observation within 6 years. In addition to his responsibilities at the Department of Geography and Environmental Science, Professor Mubira had teaching responsibilities in the Faculty of Engineering, among others. Among his key contributions include the setup of satellite receiving stations at the University of Zimbabwe, Great Zimbabwe University, National University of Science and Technology, Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Environment, Water and Climate. Professor Mubira also led in the development of the current GIS-based malaria stratification map for Zimbabwe, used by the Ministry of Health and Child Care. Professor Mubira has been a board member in key institutions such as the Research Council of Zimbabwe, Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe as Vice Chairman, and Forestry Commission as Chairman. Minerals Marketing Corporation of Zimbabwe, the Mining Promotion Corporation of Zimbabwe, and the University of Zimbabwe Council. Professor Mubira is also a fellow of the Zimbabwe Academy of Sciences, the Survey Institute of Zimbabwe, and the African Association of Remote Sensing of the Environment. Under the leadership of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Commander-in-Chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, the Minister and his team in the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education, Science and Technology Development has reconfigured the ministry from a consumptive ministry to a productive ministry through investment promotion. To date, the ministry has contributed investments of over $6 billion US dollars in the past 9 months alone. The higher and tertiary education system has been configured to produce goods and services. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome our guest speaker as he takes his position on the podium. Thank you.
My colleagues, this is what I met when I went there. I met bureaucracy. Anyway, good afternoon, colleagues, representative of the Minister of Mines, Honorable Chitanto, the Acting Vice Chancellor, Professor Paul Mafumo, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Betsai Mashiri, the Board Chairman Unki Mine, Mr. Maposa, the General Manager Unki Mine, Mr. W. Nemasasi, representatives of the Chamber of Mines, the Senior University Management here present, Deans of Faculties, Directors of Schools and other units, and Master of Ceremonies, Msiwa, members of the mining houses here present, members of the academia, members of civil society, here, ladies and gentlemen, community friends. I am very humbled to be here. I'm actually very happy to be here. This is very familiar territory for me, so I'm very comfortable. I just want to start by saying that our purpose in education, or our purpose in life, is to improve the lives of Zimbabweans. Our success in terms of progress shall be measured by how many people we lift from poverty, how many lives we change. I am very sure, Chairman, that by giving our students instruments, you are contributing in lifting people from poverty. We shall be taking this responsibility of developing and propelling Zimbabwe, Africa, and the world into a prosperous future through education. We are saying the education that results in caps and gowns must be gone. The caps and gowns must be representing something that is in the brain. And the work that we have to do is to make sure that we transform those lives. And in doing that, we have to be humble. Why is it very important for us to be humble? It's so that we concentrate, so that we don't focus on things that don't matter. Most of the times we lose time by focusing on things that don't matter. How my jacket looks like instead of how a rock looks like, is there gold or not? We cannot afford to be poor in this country when Zimbabwe is one of the countries endowed with the highest concentration of diverse minerals in the world. With a team, I see my colleague there, we actually calculated diversity of minerals in the world in 2013. Isn't it, comrade? And we discovered that the highest concentration of mineral diversity is in Central and Southern Africa. And when I was reading the Soviet files of 1952, there were two statements, one or two references. They say, if you want to control the world economically, there are two things that you have to do, two places in the world that we have to look at. Middle East for oil. If you have got control over the oil resources, you have control over the world. The second was Central and Southern Africa because of its rich mineral diversity. There we are. So we ask ourselves, if we are poor, why are we poor? The natural resources there maybe is the approach that we have to be looking at. The vision of my ministry is to deliver a competitive, industrialized and modernized Zimbabwe through what we call heritage-based higher and tertiary education, science and technology development. When we say heritage-based science education, we are basically saying, don't look at things that are not there. Look around. Some people already say that this country is a hotspot of mineral resources. So why don't we focus our geological education towards making sure that we have maximum value from those natural resources? When we say heritage-based education, we are not talking about an education whereby you start dancing around in virtue before you go to a lecture. We are actually talking about the human resource base that we have. We are talking about the natural resources that we have. We are talking about everything that we have. All what we are saying is that you can be a specialist in phytochemistry who might have been trained in Canada, where there are a lot of maple trees. And in all your experiments, you were using maple trees. But a maple tree is a tree, isn't it? When you come to Zimbabwe, you can't then start importing leaves of maple trees so that you can do experiments. This is one of the tragedies that we have, that we can't get away from an example. It was just an example. The maple tree was just an example. Look around, you will be able to see baobab trees, Atazonia digitata. You will be able to see Parinari craterifolia, which is Mohacha, and so forth and so forth. This is what we are basically trying to say. Use the most sophisticated knowledge that you can get, the most sophisticated formulas that you can get, but don't forget that you are in Zimbabwe. Look around and see the opportunities that we have and use them. This is our definition of heritage-based education. When we say heritage-based science and technology development, we are basically trying to say, look at Zimbabwe, it is 26 billion tons of coal underground. Can we afford to use that coal to make a fire and a braai, when we actually know that coal is a hardened hydrocarbon, which we can actually use for making fuel like sasso, which we can actually use for making fertilizer, ammonium nitrate that we are importing every day. So this is what our definition of heritage-based education is. And a simple example is Great Zimbabwe was built from stone that was around. They did not try to import ice blocks because they saw that igloos in the North Pole are built of ice blocks. Surely the ice blocks will melt because our average temperature is 24 degrees Celsius. So this is what we are saying. Our education has to be relevant and practical. It is only relevant education that can significantly influence and lift people from poverty. And this gesture from Unki man shows that they are very serious in lifting people from poverty. You don't give them sweets, you give them the how to make the sweets so that they can make the sweets on their own tomorrow. I want to explain a very simple concept, which we call Education 5.0. One of the issues that we have done is to say, yes, our education is mainly, I have been promoted on the basis of teaching, research, and community service, which has 3 missions, which I call Education 3.0. Most of the times we even struggle to get to Education 3.0 because most of the research capacity was with my colleague, Ms. Namasasu, who was actually talking about the issue of why are not people researching? Because the Institute of Mining Research was patenting things in the 70s. Why not now? So the issue basically is that we have resorted to teaching using books which were written by other people who do research elsewhere. So we teach, and then do a bit of consulting. So most of our research, most of our education has remained at Education 1.0, which means teach. I know we have been moving towards Education 2.0 by researching a lot. And also community outreach, which is important. But what we have said is that we have to complete the loop between what we know and what we produce. Therefore, the problem was not the students. The problem is not the professors. The problem is the configuration of our society. Our society is very intelligent people. But I have given an example of Peter Ndlovu and Bruce Grobler in one team. In that team, these people are exceptionally talented. But if you put Bruce Grobler on number 9, the team will lose. If you put Peter Ndlovu on the goals, the team will lose. It doesn't mean that we have got, they are not intelligent people. They are very intelligent people, but badly configured. It's not a team. So this is what we are now saying in Education 5.0. Teach, research, community outreach, innovate, and industrialize. So what we are basically saying is that in our innovation, which is basically Education 5.0, which has 5 missions, what this tells us is that promotion procedures should be able to tell us whether a person is enough a professor at Education 5.0. That's why we have started this program of introducing innovation hubs. The innovation hub is not an extra teaching space, not at all. And when we're talking about it, it seems very theoretical. But I'm very happy that the Innovation Hub at the University of Zimbabwe is now on the 3rd floor and is ready for commissioning. And we funded it. And some people say there is no money. No. There is money, but it's being used for curtains and chairs. It's not being used for useful things. So I say, let's focus. The money is there. It's just money for what? So in the Innovation Hub, we expect all good ideas to go through a technical service whereby the experts are looking at things and they see that it's plausible. There should be a legal service which is ready to patent. And there should be a marketing service which is able to say this is marketing, this is viable commercially. And then with this, we are saying prototypes that are patented already or copyrighted, depending whether it's a service or it is a good, comes from the Innovation Hub. So ideation has to take place there. Legal services have to kick in to protect. And commercial services marketing has to kick in to find the market viability. The technical services of the MCUI has to go and see whether this idea is an idea at all. That is the purpose of an Innovation Hub. Its product is what is called a prototype. So, would we have prototypes and we are happy with them? What we have done is we have asked the government to allow us to construct industrial parks that are linked to higher and tertiary institutions. We are starting with the 10 provinces. Just like our dream of innovation hubs, which is coming to fruition. We are going to do 6 more next year, so we have completed all universities. And we are saying, when you are humble, when you are serious, when you are focused, it is possible. So what we are saying is that these industrial parks are going to be linked to higher and tertiary institutions. And what they are just going to do is to feed on the prototypes that are being produced in the innovation hubs or that are already in the labs today. There are a lot of prototypes at the University of Zimbabwe. I've been here, I know. But one of the issues is that they have to see the day when they are being produced. At the industry, you don't need very intelligent people. You just need people who have got capability, who can repeat a thing. Can I read for Roma, go for Roma? You understand what I mean? So the industrial parks are going to be constructed in earnest. We have been given land in every local authority of about 20 hectares, and we are going to construct them, and starting next year. So this is the industrialization. So we close the loop from ideas at teaching to industrialization at the end. And we will be promoting PPPs, and we are going to promote our job basically will be to provide the finances and the capabilities in order to do this. So this is our idea of higher and tertiary education. Education that produces goods and services, education that is not about speaking good English or good Cinderella or good Shona, it's about doing things that matter. We had grown into an environment